Okay, so the NHL has just had its All-Star weekend, which is a perfect time to discuss the NHL's falling TV ratings in the US. Now, the All-Star weekend, a lot of criticism of the All-Star weekend, the format and the voting format from fans, social media. I get it. But there's a bigger thing to discuss. The falling TV ratings in the US and viewership is down 22%. So, multiple reasons for this. I'm going to discuss the three big networks in the US. We're leaving out Altitude and NESN and Comcast, AT&T. We're talking Bally Sports, whatever it is, formerly known as Fox, ESPN, which has also got ESPN Plus, and TNT. These are the three big ones that I think are having a massive impact on the viewership figures being down. There are other reasons like the economy as well. So Bally Sports, which is owned by the Diamond Sports Group, which is a subsidiary of the Sinclair Broadcast Group, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. There were concerns about this broadcasting group at the end of last season, after their first year of owning what was the old Fox Sport affiliates. Obviously, on an economic standpoint, Rupert Murdoch and his media group, News Corp, in the US and over here in Europe had to sell off some of their affiliates, some of their companies. And so they sold off Fox Sports to Disney. Now, Disney decided to sell them off to the Sinclair Broadcast Group because Disney has shares in ESPN. So why would they want to own two sports groups? And then the mess of merging them together and then no. So they bought, no, we don't want this. We already got ESPN. We've already got shares in ESPN. We don't need Fox. We'll sell that off. Sinclair Broadcast Group comes along, realising, hang on a second, we can get into a lot of homes here. We'll buy that. Now, whether they paid too much for it is another thing. But they obviously rebranded and carry on. Same feed. Don't change the channel, just change the name, which is fact, right? The thing is, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They owe the NHL and the NBA and other sports leagues in the US a lot of money. They haven't been keeping up with their agreed payments for the TV rights. So that's a concern that the NHL will feel if this company goes belly up. It will impact escrow, it'll impact the salary cap, and no one's a winner then. So the league loses revenue, the players lose a bit of salary, and the team owners will lose money as well. So this is a big stinker. So that's a concern. People will see that and be concerned. Do I really want to have that? I'll cancel that subscription. I'm not so sure this is good. The quality isn't great anyway. No. And that's when I get into the economy side of things. ESPN, which has the ESPN Plus streaming service, and TNT, which is owned by Ted Turner. Again, the quality of broadcasting and regional blackouts. Don't worry, USA. Don't worry, you Americans. We have regional blackouts here and time blackouts as well in the UK and in Europe. It's frustrating. It's a pain in the arse. We hate it. And there's a lot of pushback from viewers over here across the Atlantic against that. And they're starting to consider dropping those blackouts for, match times, certain time of day, certain... like the English Premier League, the 3 o'clock kickoff. You get to watch that, we don't. We've had enough. And they're considering dropping the 3 p.m. blackout to try and protect the finances of English football, for example. Blackouts regionally in the US, pain in the arse, completely understanding. Market blackouts, completely understand. We have it here as well. That's a massive bugbear. Also, the quality of broadcasting. Yeah, we can get that as well. Especially when like a veteran broadcaster or a really quality broadcaster leaves a network and their replacement isn't nowhere near good enough. I'm not against female broadcasters or male broadcasters. If they're good, they're really good. If they're bad, they're terrible. There is no, they're average, they're building into it. No, you're either good or bad. And I understand in Canada with the Don Cherry thing and Coach's Corner and the aftermath of that, I understand what happened there. At the same time, the broadcast setup in north of the border in Canada isn't great either. A lot of feedback going the way they've handled this broadcasting change or that broadcasting change or the quality of the product, which then leads into the economy, less disposable income. If you think a product's crap, you're not going to buy it. If you think a product that you have got on offer is not good enough, you are not going to buy it. If you think it's worth the money, okay, you'll pay for that. So ESPN and TNT have got to compete against each other. If one of them is not good, you're going to go for the other one because it's slightly better. If they're both not good, you're going to go, well, I need to save money here. I've got kids' medical bills, for example. Maybe the wife or your wife or husband doesn't drive, so you've got to help get them to and from work. You might have your own medical bills, mortgages, gas, your electric, internet, TV, cable, whatever it is. If you think you can save money in this with the inflation going up, wages stagnating, you're not going to pay for it. And this is what broadcasters over here in Europe are finding out as well, is we're not willing to pay for it. For a reduced quality and a rising price, and then the broadcasters wonder why people illegally stream or just stop watching altogether and go, the quality's not good enough. I'm turning off. There you go. It's a thing called a wallet and a thing called a remote. If you don't think the product's worth paying for, you're not going to pay for it. If you think it's not good enough, you turn off. Simple. And this is what ESPN and TNT are finding out is Ted Turner and ESPN, for example, so Ted Turner owns TNT and ESPN, haven't had the rights for a long time. There's a reason for that. They weren't great the last time. They're still not great now. ESPN sucks. We had ESPN over here in the UK. It doesn't exist anymore. No one watched it. It's crap. I also understand with the Bailey Sports situation and the potential bankruptcy of their parent company. We've had that happen. We've had it happen over here in Europe as well. We had a company called Setanta. Now, parts of the Setanta group still exist, but the UK and Ireland don't. They're gone. They're gone. They went bankrupt. And the negative impact it had upon the leagues that they were broadcasting and the teams in those leagues they were broadcasting are still being felt 15 years later. 15 years ago, Setanta went, oh, we have no money. Oh, we can't pay our rights deals, which we've agreed with XYZ leagues and teams. We're going bankrupt. And 15 years later, the financial impacts of that bankruptcy are still being felt in Scottish football and parts of English football, rugby union, rugby league, still being felt today. The impacts are still being felt by professional sport in the UK and Ireland today, 15 years on. The same applies for ITV Digital. So for those in North America, ITV as a network is a free-to-air network. They came up with a sports subscription arm on top of their free-to-air network for the English Premier League, rugby union, F1, things like that. It didn't last very long, I think 2 years in total. It cost them a lot of money. And because ITV was on the UK Stock Exchange, the share price of ITV tanked. So investors lost a lot of money. It nearly bankrupted the company. Not only that, again, the knock-on impact it had for the English Premier League, the TV rights deal, they weren't getting paid the money that they were owed. And so it weakened the TV rights deal for a little bit. It did. So I have seen broadcast networks go belly up before, bankrupt, fail, collapse, and the economic impact it has had is still being felt 15 years later. We had two networks basically collapse a few years apart. And so I understand the concern people have about the Sinclair Broadcast Group, the parent company of Bally Sports. If that goes belly up, yes, it will massively impact the NHL, massively. But also people are like, well, the quality is not as good as what Fox was 2 years prior. Well, a lot of people gave it a go last season. And actually, this is okay. We'll give it a go. They subscribed. They're not happy with the quality they're getting, which goes back to the economy. And the way some of these broadcasters have decided to cut costs by clearing out veteran broadcasters and then replacing them with cheaper, younger replacements and less experienced replacements or lesser quality replacements who cost less money on their contracts is another problem. So the quality's got less, but they're charging you more. So that's pretty much why the NHL TV ratings are down in the US by 22%. It's not just an American, USA kind of unique problem. Europe, Australia and New Zealand, anywhere that has a TV satellite subscription broadcaster, they're finding it. Also, we're consuming our media differently. People are less likely to watch TV. I consume all my sport on the internet feed. Legitimately, of course. I'm not going to pay, for an illegitimate feed that's going to give me viruses, but I don't watch regulation TV anymore. I haven't watched regular TV properly for nearly 4 years. So the way we consume our media is more varied now than what it was the last time ESPN had the NHL rights. Media's evolved. And unfortunately, these mainstream broadcasters have got to evolve with it. ESPN Plus, from everything I've heard, is diabolical. TNT, I haven't heard as many complaints about TNT, the Ted Turner network, but I wouldn't say it's terrible, but at the same time, I wouldn't say it's of the quality of NBCSN, which they know what they're doing. And if they've won the rights to our English Premier League in the US, I think they're a reputable network. I think the NHL has missed a trick by losing them as a broadcaster. I really do. But that's my personal take on it from what I've seen on social media, what fans are saying on social media. You get a big read from the feeling of the NHL fan base, and even those who want to try and get into the sport, get into the league, and go, the quality isn't great. I'm not really learning the ice hockey very well. So those casual fans or those new fans, they're being put off by the really poor broadcasting quality and the price. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below. And I do say this, it's not just a unique problem to the US. I think every sports broadcaster is figuring this out, that hey, you put your prices up too much in your current economic climate, you're going to lose subscribers, you're going to lose customers, and therefore it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of, adding to that poor quality broadcasting, you've got a perfect storm of, we're losing money. So there we go. The NHL has got some very tough discussions to have with its broadcast partners in the US. Same in Canada as well, and their overseas partners as well, because I think they could do better at growing the sport over here and the league over here. We do have ice hockey in the UK. We're trying to grow the sport in the UK. It would help if we had better broadcast rights for the sport over here. So how they deal with their overseas international broadcast rights as well, and how much money they make off that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.